What's up, One Trade Away community? It's G Hawkins back with another little Q&A session. Got a question from somebody in chat regarding watch lists and what I do to get those together. So let's dive in real quick and just kind of wrap a little bit about how I develop and build watch lists. Now, I don't do anything special, or I'm not using special scanners and all the particulars looking for something that's at least 20% away from the 50 MA or 200 MA or things like that. But what I do is I'm consistent with the things that I am looking for. One of the first things I look for is looking at what's happening in the market, and I'll bring this over with FinViz, right? So take a look here, and I dropped one of these earlier, and I'm doing this live during the market because I was thinking about doing this after hours the other day. It didn't work well because I needed some live data. But the first thing I do every day is I'm looking at what's an outlier, right? I see Meta is up 6% relative to the rest of the market. PVH is down, 7% or so. PayPal's up. Bax is up. LVS is up. Netflix is up. CEG is up in their sector, right? So I'm looking at these bubbles, and as you see, these are my settings on the side for FinViz. But I'm looking at these bubbles to get a quick and easy reference to what is an outlier. Whether that's something that's extremely oversold compared to the rest of the market, or something that's extremely overbought for the rest of the market. If it's overbought, guess what? When it hits proper levels, and we talked about, the things I'm looking at in swings, which turn into the same things I'm looking at when it comes to a day trade, I want to short this if it's oversold and the market is starting to come back down. Right? If this is way down here, BBY, Best Buy, they had earnings the other day. If they're way down, I may consider longing this if the market is gonna go up. So I'm making my decisions relative to where that stock or equity is, juxtaposed to its sector, and then I'm comparing that to where the market is as a whole. Right? So I want to make sure we keep those things in line. So that's the first thing I'm doing when it comes to building my watch list. Now, of course, I try to keep certain things on scan all the time. Bitcoin, as you see, Dow Jones, SPY, the Qs, tech. I'm keeping these things, UVXY, SQQQ, right? So the bear inverse, right, or the bear ultra short, which is the inverse of the Qs. And this is leverage, TQQQ, which is the leverage long for the Qs, right? I keep these things constantly. And then I'm big on tech. That's my sector of choice. So I'm always watching key names in technology, right? Then I like to look at art because Kathy Woods be talking that shit. So I'm always watching what some of her main ones that she has. And I've got Tesla already in my watch, so I didn't add it here. I'm looking at oil and energy right now simply because we're heading from summer into fall. So I want to see if oil prices will start to decline. And obviously we got news today of them looking at capping Russia's oil price, which may cause, according to Trading Fraternity, that may cause oil to skyrocket. So I'm watching that. I'm also watching natural gas. I've played that a few times, hit a couple of them. So I'm watching BOIL and KOLD. I'm always watching divvies just so I know where the market is as a whole in regards to value stocks and growth stocks, that are giving good to great dividend gains back, right? Whether it's a dividend aristocrat, dividend kings, all those different terminologies for your dividend stocks. So I'm watching those. And then I have my own set of intraday plays that are things that I'm watching, things that will get added to my intraday. But once again, that's all coming from FinViz. And then my second place that I'm looking at what's hot right now. I call it the hot chart on TradingView. So this also confirms some of those outliers, right? So I'm looking at Meta. And mind you, I'm always watching for things that are at least a million in volume wise, at least 1 million shares traded. Every now and then I'll grab something that's a little bit sub 1 million, but I'm not going for anything at 150,000 shares, right? If that is and I have to bring this over a little bit to confirm that. Yeah, but that's okay. So 150,000 shares, I'm not playing with that. 500 shares, 500,000 shares, perhaps, right? So I want to look at volume and see what's spiking, but I like to be in the 1 million share range. So I'm looking at some of the top gainers, right? I'm also looking at some of the top losers. Once again, we're looking for outliers. Then once I find something, let's say like Meta, for instance, I think I have it up here on one of the charts. Meta, look at where it was, and I'll just bring up SPY right below it, so we're close. Look at where it was and what it was doing, right? And notice how the cursor gives you not just what I'm doing up here on Meta, but it's showing the location of the cursor that's down here in SPY. So when SPY is ripping up, Meta's starting to cool off a little bit. When SPY starts to pull back, Meta's still ramping until it hits this indicated line, and this was already previously charted, right? So this level was already on this chart, and I saw it break down below VWAP. So guess what I did? I start shorting right as it broke through the 8, the 21, and then it started breaking down below the 55. I start shorting, and I start covering down. And look at what SPY's doing. SPY's starting to come back up. So guess what? We see these pops back. Boom, it hits my stop loss. SPY pops back up, so does Meta. So now they're back in sync where they weren't, right? So I'm trading this in relation to what SPY is doing and the rest of the market is doing and making a decision to short. Right now, if I look at SPY, it's below VWAP. Came up, retested VWAP. It's playing right around this same level, right? It's got some support underneath it with some 821s and 55s. But look at what Meta's doing. Meta's starting to fail below those lines. So guess what? If I want to, I'll take a little bit short right here with the risk right above, maybe at the 164.80s. 82s. I'm not going to go as high as VWAP yet, but let me go a little bit up here. So right now, I'm actually going to make this trade live. Boom. I just shorted a few shares right there. Boom. You know, grab a quick 100 shares. Nothing too significant. And my stop is going to be 164.82. So I'm just going to put that in right there because that's above some key levels that I've got, as well as this having some fighting and right around this level. So that's how I'm trading some things. Now this may pop up and run back to VWAP. And if it fails VWAP, I may try again at VWAP. This may break down and continue to break this 163.19s. That's what I'm looking for. So let me just set an alert because I may add there, right? I'm going to set an alert on the top side. And I'm going to set an alert right here at VWAP, right? That's how I'm going to trade Meta. And then guess what? It's already on my watch list, because it's one of the stocks I watch. So I don't have to add it down anywhere else. I could move it down here to be a little bit more focused, but I don't necessarily have to, right? But that's what I'm doing. The third and final thing that I'm watching when I build a watch list is I'm watching for our news. So when we've got all the things that come into the day trading channel, and I'll move this over right now so we could see that. When we've got these things that are coming in, these tweets, these are giving me insight on what I may want to add to my watch list, right? When I'm seeing things, they're talking about crude oil is dropping and things like that. When we're talking about putting a price cap on, I mentioned this a moment ago. So guess what? I started to play Oxy. I'm looking at Oxy. I'm going to add that over the next several days because that may not happen until Friday, Monday. So guess what? Oxy's on my watch list. XLE will be on my watch list. Those are the types of things that I now want to start adding because I want to watch it based on the action that may be coming up. So we're going to add those two. And I think I got XLE somewhere else. It's already on my list. Yeah, it's up here. So I'm just added Oxy down on my watch list because now that's going to be tradable in the next couple of days. Going back up here, we're watching this Meta action. Just once again, just made a live trade. We're watching this fail under the 8 and the 21. Let's see if it'll break down below the 163.98. If it does, shit, I may add there and put a stop right above and move my other stop down. We're going to manage our risk accordingly because we've got to protect our capital at all costs. But that's pretty much, to wrap up, that's pretty much how I create my watch list. looking at those three things. Always want to look at my outliers. I'm looking at FinViz to check my bubbles. I always want to look at the hot list that's over in TradingView and seeing what's the top movers, what's not moving, so on and so forth. Right? And then third and finally, I'm checking our room, one trade away. I'm checking Investors Underground, another room that I've been in for over a decade. I'm checking them for news, because those news items, when someone files something with the SEC, or when someone has, when someone's purchased a lot of shares, an insider buy, right? Those are things that will move a stock. Remember, Oxy started moving heavily when Berkshire Hathaway grabbed around the 48s. I don't remember how much he put in, but he grabbed around the 48s. Right now, Oxy's trading at the 71s. It's crazy. It's crazy how much money he made, and everybody else who bought when he bought based off the news, and they put it on their watch list. So that's what's up. That's how I get it. I hope this answers your question. If there are any additional questions that pop from what we're talking about today, make sure to let me know. And just remember, you're always one trade away from the rest of your life. Chat with you later. Peace.